What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You asked for it, so today we're gonna do it. We're gonna be taking a look at this $320 on-field Nike jersey versus this $35 Chinese knockoff. Let's do it. All right, so before we start this versus, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that sub button, hit the like. It helps us be found by other people that would like to see these videos, and it helps us beat the YouTube algorithm. So do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the sub. Okay, so first off, real quick off the bat, we do these versus videos to take a look at a cheaper Chinese knockoff versus the most expensive jerseys that you can buy. We've done an MLB one, and just like I said on that one, this is not to put down knockoff jerseys, it's not to put down replica jerseys. I am a firm believer of both of them. If you don't want to spend the money on a real one, grab a knockoff. Generally, they look just as good. This is solely for your information to help you make an informed decision when you're spending a lot of money on a jersey. Whether you want to do it or not, it's up to you, but at least you have the information so you can get a good purchase and you don't get ripped off. So, with that said, let's get started. So the first thing, materials. There's two big differences when looking at these jerseys material-wise. The NFL Vapor on-field jersey is a very, very stiff material. The on-field authentic jersey, as you can see here in the hanger, it holds its shape. And no matter what I do, I can move it this way, I can move it that way, it holds its shape. It doesn't move, it doesn't bend. This knockoff jersey, it's basically almost like a material that you'd see on like a t-shirt. It's real thin, kind of flimsy. It almost feels like the same materials that they used to use on the old Reebok NFL jerseys, if you can remember those. These NFL newer Nike jerseys, they're basically, they feel like if you ever played football, pee-wee football or like high school football, and the coach told you to show up on Friday with your jersey on, it's that real stiff, stretchy material. It's the exact same feel. It'll take you right back to Fridays at Friday Night Lights when you were in high school. It's the exact same thing. So between the two, there is a noticeable difference in fabrics just in that alone. You'll also notice that the knockoff jersey compared to the Nike one, if I hold them next to each other, they're two different colors. The blue that they use, Nike, I believe, calls it their electric blue. It used to be powder blue. When the Reebok uniforms came out, it was about this color, but Nike uses what's called an electric blue, and this blue is just, it's fire. It's super, super bright. It's really hard to replicate. I don't know if it's replicatable, to be totally honest with you. So the biggest difference that I've found just putting them up side by side is the blues. The cut of the jerseys are almost the same. So the authentic one, if you look on the back panel, it's got a 3-panel stitching that runs into a triangle formation here on the back. The knockoff jersey has the exact same thing. The only difference is, you see it here, runs between the numbers, out that way, out that way. I'll put some close-ups so you guys can get a real good look at it as well, so you can, look at them back and forth. The big difference is on the authentic Nike one, the bottom patch, this here, and I'll put a close-up view. You can kind of see it there, but it's a mesh panel. It's for breathability and for movement. The knockoff one, they do not have those panels. And if you do happen to order one that has a panel, generally it's a really flimsy material. Nike engineered these back panels on the new Vapor jerseys. It's actually made out of the same material that's here. So this mesh panel and this panel are almost exactly the same. They just put like these, I don't even know what you would call it. I'll put a video so you guys can see it, but it's like a micro mesh. It's a really, really, really tiny mesh hole, and there's tons of them. It's the same thing on the front of the jersey. On the front of the jersey, there's not even a panel. So if you look on the authentic one, you can see the mesh holes in it, and it runs up until about mid-waist. So I guess your abs, technically, if you have any. It runs up to about right there, and it just kind of fades away. So on the front, there's not even a seam line. like on the back. You see the seam line here on the back of the jersey where the mesh starts and the mesh ends. On the front, they were actually able to do it seamlessly. So it ends, I guess not your ribs, right your ribs or right under your armpit. And then it goes into a solid material. So it's one piece of fabric that's mesh and not mesh. On the knockoff, you actually don't get any mesh at all. It's just one single piece of fabric. Let's talk about the cut of the jerseys. So the knockoff jersey is marketed with the tags that come in it, and it's marketed online as an authentic NFL jersey. So we have to look at these as authentic. We have to look at the authentic jersey and compare it directly to the knockoff. The knockoff jersey, the cut is wrong. If you look at this jersey, it looks like a replica because that's how it's cut. The paneling is correct. So the bolts have panel pockets in them. It's got a 3-panel stitching on the back. That is correct, but the actual cut of the jersey is wrong. So if you look at the sleeves, how long they are, if you look how wide the jersey itself is, it's incorrect. The authentic jerseys are made to player specifications. These things are made to be played in. So if you look at the sleeves of this has cut off sleeves with pad pockets in it. It's got elastic on the arms. You could actually put a set of shoulder pads on in this jersey and play in it and probably not have any issues. There's the pads, right? The pad pocket there. The sleeves are cut off with the elastic. Like I said, the cut of the jersey, the paneling is correct, but these jerseys actually are snug on the shoulders and the arms. If you've ever worn a jersey, like I said before, on a Friday night to a high school game, if you ever played high school football or, you know, Pop Warner, that's how these jerseys fit. It's an athletic cut. It's not fit like a regular t-shirt would. It fits you like a jersey should. So the shoulders up top, the arms are short for pockets for pads, and it's actually kind of snug up top. They're pretty close. What I would say with the knockoff is a knockoff is kind of a mixture of two different types of jerseys. So Nike NFL jerseys, they come in a bunch of different styles, but the top two are the Nike Vapor Elite, which are the on-field jerseys. This guy. There's also another one that I actually have back there. That's a replica jersey. The replica jerseys are one step below. So instead of being like $330, I think they're 115, 120. And they mimic a lot of the same things that the knockoff jerseys do. So cut wise, they're cut like a t-shirt. They have longer sleeves. They fit generally like a t-shirt. They're a little bit different. Numbers and letters wise, there's a pretty big difference actually between these. Generally on knockoff jerseys, the numbers and letters are actually pretty good. On this one, they are pretty nice, but there is a difference because what Nike did, I'm sure it was a design choice, you know, that they went over with the Chargers, because not all NFL uniforms are like this. But if you look at this, the letters and the numbers in this authentic jersey are italicized. So they lean to one side. I'm trying to hold it up straight, but the letters themselves are not, they're not up and down. They're italicized, so they lean over a little bit. As you can see on this, on the knockoff jerseys, they didn't come close. The letters are a little small. The numbers look good. They're tackle twilled, 2-layer stitched. They look really nice, but when you put it up to the other one, there's a definite difference. It's probably not something that you would notice unless you're looking at it specifically, or if you were standing next to somebody with a real jersey and you had a fake one. But it's definitely a difference. The font that they use on the knockoff jersey is actually wrong as well. So not only is it not like an italicized one, but it's the old Chargers font. I would assume it's because they didn't have a reference to look at other than really photos. Like I said in the last video that I did a review of the authentic Nike jersey. Put a link down in the description if you guys didn't catch that. Make sure you take a look at that video. But the Chargers, for whatever reason, didn't release an authentic jersey last year, which is why it took me an entire football season to actually get a video up of it, because I usually order them, you know, like right when they're released. For whatever reason, the Chargers didn't release one. When they did release it, it was almost when the season was over. They released a limited number of them and they sold out instantly. So I was actually not able to get one until recently. I've had this jersey for like a couple months. And even when I ordered it, it took a while to get it. It was a little strange. Okay, so back to the comparison. After numbers and letters. Oh, on the numbers and letters as well. Just like I explained in the other review, on the authentic jersey, it's a single layer tackle twill. On the replica jersey, the numbers are dual layer. So you have a layer of fabric that's stitched, a second layer of fabric that's also stitched. So you have 2 layers of stitching on the knockoff. On the authentic jersey, you have a cutout outline, the number, and then they're both stitched together once instead of having 2 layers. Like I said, I'll put some close-up videos so you guys can see that. Moving on, logos and patches. So this is the one thing that surprised me that the knockoff actually got right, because this is a big change to Chargers uniforms. Probably the biggest, well, I'm not going to say the biggest because they changed colors. They changed uniforms a couple times. When Nike redesigned the uniforms last year, the biggest change that they made, and this is, you know, Chargers specific, but the bolts on the side. For years, shoot, maybe even decades, I want to say since the 90s, I think were iron-on. Yeah, so maybe since the 90s, the bolts on the sleeves have been stitched. Last year and this year going forward, they're actually they're heat sealed, but it's like a vinyl transfer. It's like a t-shirt material. It's not actually sewn onto the jersey. So on an authentic jersey, you're gonna have sewn on letters, the sewn on name patch, sewn on letters, single layer tackle twill numbers, and you're gonna have screen printed bolts. It's the same thing as the players wear on the field. They just decided for whatever reason that they're gonna screen print them this year. It's a pretty major change for their uniforms. I don't know if it was a team decision. It was probably a performance decision, I would think, because it makes the jerseys lighter. If you've ever felt an authentic Reebok jersey or 2 years ago's Nike uniform, they were pretty heavy. They had stitched on bolts, 2 layers stitched on numbers. They were pretty hefty, pretty heavy uniforms. So over at Nike, they generally try to strive for the lightest materials they can. This thing weighs basically nothing. I think the t-shirt on my back actually weighs more than this. So that's a big change. Sticking with the patches, the Nike swoosh on the side, the one on the authentic is an actual patch that's sewn directly onto the sleeve. The knockoffs, generally you'll see it's not a patch, but it's a bolt. It's a Nike swoosh that's sewn directly to the sleeve itself instead of a patch that's sewn on. I'll put a close-up of those for you guys too. Generally on the authentic jerseys, it's a little bit sharper because it is a patch that's sewn. It's not just sewn to the sleeve. So it actually looks a little bit crisper as well. On the knockoff, they did get the directions of the Nike swoosh right. If you guys are ever on wherever you buy jerseys, Facebook Marketplace, if you're on like a knockoff website, and you're looking at knockoff jerseys, the biggest giveaway that I've seen recently is the direction of the swoosh. The direction of the swoosh sits just like a flag on a military uniform. It always faces the front. So no matter what side of the sleeve it's on, the swoosh will be facing inwards. I've seen some knockoffs that get that backwards. So just keep an eye out for it because it'll make you look like a goofball. NFL crest on them is almost identical. So a couple years ago, when Nike, I want to say 2 years ago, Nike switched over to the metallic plastic NFL shield. This is the authentic one here. As you can see, it kind of sheens in the light. It's colored. It's got a red NFL and then the blue stars up there. Red NFL, blue stars, NFL logo. It's embossed so you can feel all the stars. You can feel the logo and everything. On the knockoff, they actually got it pretty close. The only difference that I've noticed is a lot of time on the knockoffs, they get the sheen right. It's made of like that rubberized plastic material, but the stars, the football and the NFL logo are not embossed. You can't really feel them. It's flat, it's smooth. Have somebody selling you a jersey and you go to look at it, feel the NFL, it should be embossed. It's very well embossed, so you can even feel the individual stars on there. So if it doesn't feel right, then it's probably not. Also, chainmail mesh grill on the V-neck of the shirt on the jersey. This is the NFL authentic one. As you can see, it's made of a chainmail material is what they call it. It's stitched directly onto the fabric and into the fabric on the V-neck to help keep the collar keep its shape. On the inside, I'll get some shots for you too. It's got a second material with breathable inlets to let hot air out. But this entire thing is basically made to help keep the collar shape while in field of play. The knockoff one has one as well. It's just not, it's nothing, it doesn't have the same technology as the NFL one. So this is basically just a soft mesh material that they put here. Just looking at it, and I'll put a side-by-side comparison like I do with everything else. It looks pretty similar, but the one on the authentic one, the chainmail itself is a really, really hard structured material. The one on the knockoff jersey, it's just a flimsy piece of mesh. It doesn't really do anything. And I'll put a look on the inside as well. The inside of the collar, it's nothing compared to the NFL one. This one actually has a purpose. This one doesn't. It's just made to look the same. NFL crest. Laser cut satin twill woven jock tag. This is a big one. I don't know if the knockoff, the people that do the knockoff jerseys will ever get this right, because Nike has a proprietary way that they do this. They're laser cut. So this is the authentic Nike one, the jock tag. As you can see, as I move it back and forth, it is metallic. It reflects light. The material that it's made out of is not, it's not like a shirt material. It almost feels like a thin foam. It's really jagged, really structured. It keeps its shape really well. And then the logo, NFL logo, the NFL Players Association, the size, and the Nike logo are all laser cut into it. So they're embossed. You can feel them, and it almost feels rubberized. It's not. It's like a foam material. But everything on there is super sharp, easy to read. I'll get a close-up of that for you guys as well. On the knockoffs, it's just a sewn patch. Like this one right here, we just got out of the bag a couple weeks ago, and it's already kind of beat up. It's just a sewn on patch. It replicates pretty well. So like if somebody's standing in front of you at a medium distance, medium to far distance, you'd never be able to really tell. It's just when you get up close. The Nike one is so clean, and it's just clean. You can tell. You can really see the difference between the two. So there's no, I mean, it's an L. It's an L for the knockoff. See, tagless jock tag, tagless collars. So the knockoff actually gets this one correct. Funny enough, it's just it gets it correct in the spot and what they were trying to achieve. They just don't do it right in terms of execution. So the Nike one, sorry, my arm is killing me. So on the Nike one, in the collar says bolt up, it's stitched, and then the jock tag is actually stitched in. This is an actual tag. It's stitched into the uniform, and it's dead center of the back. There's no floppy tag or anything like that. On the knockoff, they actually got it pretty close to right. The only real difference is the tag on this, it's screen printed. It's ironed on. It's not an actual tag. They got it on the right place. It looks right. They got it, it's tagless technically. It's just ironed on. The authentic NFL ones you'll see is an actual tag that's sewn into the jersey. The knockoff is an iron-on. So they got the positioning and everything like that correct. But it's just execution-wise is not right. And like I said, it's not a huge deal. So if you guys are looking to save some money and buy a knockoff jersey, all this information is just you know, knowledge base for you guys. So if you're out, I don't know, at a swap meet or a flea market and somebody's selling jerseys for 90 bucks, they're normally, when you're out there, unless you get an honest guy. I ran into a guy at a flea market once. He goes, hey man, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a knockoff jersey, it's not real. He's selling them for 90 bucks. And I was like, I know, like, I get it, but I appreciate your honesty. But a lot of times when you go to like the flea market, they're advertising them as authentic NFL uniforms, and a lot of times it's not even like, it's not even malicious, you know. A lot of times they just think they're getting like a wholesale price on a bunch of jerseys and they're gonna make some money. So it's just knowledge base for you guys, so you don't get ripped off. If you know you're buying a knockoff, you're trying to save some money, totally cool. Just make sure that you're not being sold an authentic jersey and receiving a knockoff, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much it. Between the two, I mean, I don't want to be harsh on the knockoffs because like I said before, I do kind of like them, but execution wise, from this authentic jersey compared to this knockoff, I'd probably graded it like a C. What they tried to do with the knockoff jerseys is they tried to do too many things at once. They basically took the cut and the look of a replica jersey and then the stitching and the paneling of an authentic jersey, and they combine the two. So unlike MLB knockoff jerseys that are really accurate, that look really good, this one looks pretty decent, but they mixed up information between two styles. So if you're looking for an authentic jersey, I'm telling you, these things you cannot miss. Nike does such a good job with these. All the stitching is fantastic. It's excellent. You'll never see a stitch come out on the shelf. So if you run across a jersey and you see stitching mistakes like this, I don't know if you can see it, but the T is actually connected to the R. That stitch right there runs across. They didn't cut that. So even if you find like a knockoff jersey that's super close and you can't really tell, you know, you're like, this might actually be a real jersey. If you see manufacturing flaws like that, 99% of the time it's not a real jersey, because Nike goes through, and I kid you not, their quality control is like bar none. It's tops. Everything on here. And actually, I found this string right here. Look, that's funny. It's probably from me wearing it. I'm not saying that it won't fray over time, because I've worn this jersey a couple times, but when you buy them, generally you won't see any manufacturer mistakes. So like the letter here, completely separate letter, completely separate letter, completely separate letter. This name badge, completely sewn on. The numbers are perfectly sewn all the way around for now, until I start sitting on chairs and screwing it up. But on the knockoffs, a lot of times you'll see sewing errors. Like I said on this one, the easiest thing, it's one of my hairs, the easiest thing to pick out is in between the letters. So you see how close these letters are together? And you can see that small thread of where they sewed around the R, and then instead of cutting the thread, they just continued over to the T and went all the way around the T. Each one of these letters is connected by a thread that they just decided not to cut. Probably because, you know, time is money. They're selling the jerseys for 30 bucks. Granted, they're making them probably for cents on the dollar, but I mean, they cut corners when they make these things, and you can tell. That's pretty much it, guys. You had a couple big things to look out for if you're ever buying a jersey. You're buying a replica. I'm sorry, if you're buying a knockoff jersey from China, you're going to see little differences. If you're looking to save some money, I say go ahead and do it. It's a nice jersey. Nobody's going to be mad at you. Nobody's really going to care. That's it for me today. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you guys liked the video. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys have any other questions or anything else you want me to review for you, jersey-wise, collectibles-wise, what have you, leave it down in the comments. If you guys buy knockoff jerseys and you like them, leave a link down below. Let us know where you got them from. I'll leave a link down in the description to where I got that knockoff jersey from if you guys want to order one for yourself. Like I said, this is not to discourage you from buying knockoff jerseys. It's just to give you the knowledge so you don't get ripped off. So that's it, guys. I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming by. Peace.